Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to Taylor's Detroit Sports Show on Blog Talk Radio. It is Sunday, May 24th, 2015. I am back. It's 11 o'clock, and Ed Smith is back as well. Happy 50th birthday, Ed. Happy belated birthday.
Oh, great. Making me sound like an old man that I really am. Thanks, Taylor, for the birthday wish. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yep. And
22, by the way, not 50.
Right. Yeah, I was going to mention that. He's 22. And I'm 30 and I'm 31. Number to call is 646-478-4837. Line number 2 is 231-429-3668. Our Twitter handles are at DT2Phillips and at EdSmith313. Going to talk some Tigers mostly, and we'll check the AL Central standings, the Griffins and Comets, and I'll ask him a simple question about Fox 2 and Fox Sports Detroit airing Lions preseason games. First off, it was a slugfest. Let's view what happened. Top of the first, Evan Gattis opened the scoring right away with a 2-run triple to make it to put the Astros up 2-0, and then a balk by Anibal Sanchez scored Gattis with Chris Carter at bat, and then that made it 3-0. But the Tigers would drop a 5 spot in reply. Started with a J.D. Martinez sacrifice fly scoring Ian Kinsler, and then next a Jonas Cespedes RBI single scoring Miguel Cabrera, and then Brian Holiday flashed his bat again with a 2-run line drive double, scoring Jonas Cespedes and Nick Castellanos, and a 3-run double actually, scoring Cespedes, Castellanos, and Rajai Davis. The Tigers would lead 5-3 after 1. They would add another in the bottom of the 4th on an Anthony Gose RBI double, and then another run in the bottom of the 5th on a Nick Castellanos RBI double. That would make it 7-3. But the Astros would come back in the 6th inning. First off, Evan Gattis with a solo home run. He's been red hot. He's one of the Astros that's been red hot late in this series. That made it 7-4, and that made it 4 earned runs given up by Anibal Sanchez. And then with 2 runners on, and Preston Tucker pinch hitting, he tied the game with a 3-run home run when Brad Ausmus should have pulled Anibal Sanchez earlier, before Preston Tucker would come to bat. That tied the game at 7. That was actually before Ausmus pulled Sanchez for Alex Wilson. In the top of the 7th, though, Wilson would get into some trouble of his own, leaving ducks on the pond for Angel Nesbitt, with a chance to try to close it out with 2 outs and the bases loaded, and Jason Castro at bat. And Castro singled in 2 runs, Marwin Gonzalez and Evan Gattis, and the Astros would retake the lead 9-7. They would add 1 more in the top of the 8th on a Marwin Gonzalez RBI single, making it 10-7. Miguel Cabrera would close the scoring with a solo shot in the bottom of the ninth. And that's as close as the Tigers would come in the late innings. The Astros win 10-8. They even the 4-game series at Comerica Park. Tigers fall back into a tie for second place with the Minnesota Twins in the American League Central Division, 3 games back of the Kansas City Royals. Tigers also lost yesterday's game 3-2 with Kyle Lobstein being charged with 3 earned runs given up. That 3-2 game was a game in which the Astros turned their first triple play since 2004. As Ian Kinsler hit into a 5-4-3 triple play on a ground ball, not too hardly hit, not hit too hardly. It was hit sort of hard, but it was perfectly played. It was not a skill shot ground ball. It was perfectly played by the third baseman, who stepped on the bag and threw to second for 2, and they would turn the triple play by throwing to first to get Kinsler. And apparently most fans would think that triple play turned the tide in the game and maybe the series, the 4-game series. And the Tigers then choked away their 2-1 lead and lost 3-2. The starting pitching and the lack of management both remain a big concern for the Tigers. Starting pitching just keeps on giving up earned runs, and now I hear Kyle Lobstein being put on the disabled list with a shoulder injury. And whatever the heck is wrong with Anibal Sanchez, he might, if he's not hurt at all, then Anibal Sanchez has a problem with his pitch command or his velocity, or how is he just not getting it done? I mean you've seen games with Anibal Sanchez in the past before you got your full-time job recently. I want you to try to analyze it the best you could.
What is there to analyze? It's completely a frustrating detail. The best way I can sum up this is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. Essentially, very, very large case of inconsistency with Sanchez. I thought coming into this year, okay, maybe he's not going to let too much of the contract play into his head, or whatever the case may be. Maybe he feels his health, he's having some mental blocks concerning his health or whatever. But I don't know what to say, because on some days or nights, he's giving you great effort. He's not giving up so many runs. He's keeping you in the game. Yet on days like today and on days that we've seen recently, he's just getting lit up. The first, it should have been the first sign of trouble with the 3 spot in the first. But thankfully, the offense, they stepped up. They bailed him out, and they gave him a 4-run lead. When you score 7 runs, when your offense scores 7 runs throughout the course of a ball game, usually that should mean, you got it. You have to take some spectacularly bad pitching and or defense and or managing to lose a lead like that and then lose the game entirely. Obviously, part of this blame goes to Osmus, because he should have known. Like, once you saw Sanchez get into trouble in that 6th, that was the time to pull him, not after damage was done. He has a thing for doing that. I don't know why, but I'm sure guy out before it's too late. But, you know, Ivy League dummy didn't know until
he already gave up 4 runs
hit the fan.
before he gave up that 3-run homer.
Oh, when it was at 7 before we had runners on, that should have been the time. After seeing the 3 spot in the first, you say, okay, that's gotta be it. That's it for Rene Sanchez, and I'm gonna trust this bullpen as best as I can throw it. But gosh, God, that's so nonsense. But then again, that goes back to Sanchez himself for pitching so awful. I cannot believe a pitcher that was supposed to be paying all this money for, okay, a pitcher who was giving us dynamite performances in the postseason not too long ago, is now giving us chicken crab instead of chicken salad. It is extremely baffling to a high degree, and makes you really wonder, or actually has you very concerned. And this team even tried to make the playoffs as a wild card, because if their starting rotation has more negative that balances out their positive, you can score all the runs you want, but if you don't have solid pitching to help carry you through the low-scoring games, you're not going to win that many games. And, of course, if you don't win that many games, you're not going to make the playoffs. I don't know what Jeff Jones needs to do to get, to help coach Sanchez through this, but it's got to do something. He needs to do something, try something, anything to help get Sanchez out of this slump. Whatever he's thinking about right now, I don't know if he's taking too many Instagram selfies. I don't get it. I don't know. But figure something out, okay? Because we're paying you far too much money to perform like this. Same thing goes with Victor, but you can tell he's hurt. I don't know what the hell was Sanchez here.
Yeah, Victor Martinez is hurt. He's on the DL, and so is Lobstein. Anibal Sanchez, there has been no injury update on Sanchez at all this year, and I do not believe that Anibal Sanchez is hurt in any way, shape, or form. It's just he's just not getting it done. He just keeps being a mess, a big part of a big mess with that starting pitching rotation, along with Kyle Lobstein, who used to be another part of a mess before he received his shoulder injury, and David Price has been pitching kind of consistent and inconsistently, alternatively, and his collapse was last Thursday against those Astros was detrimental to that 5-0 lead that the Tigers blew before they still won in 11 innings. It is truly baffling. The starting pitching as a whole is a concern, and forget the Justin Verlander excuses. That the starting pitching can get it done as a whole, not just with Verlander, but with David Price, who usually is good, not quite consistent, not quite as consistent as we need him to be right now, lately, but
more often than not, Price is going to give you something, a good quality start, give you a chance to win the game, more often than not compared to the rest of the starting rotation.
That's correct. And Alfredo Simon has done well lately. He only allowed 2 runs and got the 6-2 win. I think Simon's pitch velocity has come through. There's one bright spot. That's about the only bright spot that I could think of. Shane Green pitched well against the Brewers. Only gave up 2 runs in a 5-2 win. There's another bright spot. Actually, that's another bright spot. Those are that clears up the bright spot list in the starting rotation. Price, Sanchez, and Lobstein have been concerns. And Simon and Green, the new pitchers, have been great. Have been bright spots. I can compare. I compared recent bright spots and recent concerns in the starting rotation. I have broken them down thoroughly. And
well, Simon, I will admit, Simon and Green, as much as I feared how they will perform, they have overperformed my expectations for them, especially especially Simon. Sure, he's going to lose. There'll be some cases where he gives them one meatball too many during the course of a game, but on most part, if he exits the game giving up at most 3 runs, usually around 1 or 2. That's what you call a quality start, in my view, and it's definitely a wonderful game that your offense needs to deliver on. So, on those type of games, sure, Simon, he delivers his part. He contributes, I should say, rather, on his end. Same thing with Green. They've had to do that on the whole while waiting for Verlander to get healthy. Even still, with Price and Green and Simon alone with those guys, should be no reason why we're still having questions about our starting rotation blowing big leads as we're approaching June now. Just no question. Just no, right. Nothing wrong, right. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Now the Tigers up next are in Oakland to start a 3-game series against the Athletics tomorrow late afternoon on Memorial Day in the East Coast time at 3:35, 12:35 West Coast time, Pacific time on Memorial Day. That'll be on ESPN and Fox Sports Detroit, also on ESPN Radio as well. Let's see. What have we got tomorrow? Come on, there we go. Shane Green against Hahn. The Athletics. That's with a. That's.
This is the start of the West Coast upset, correct?
Yep. Jesse Hahn, 1-4 with a 4.43 ERA. The Athletics are 16-30 and have the worst record in the American League. 16-30, just a half game. Actually, they have the worst record in the majors right now. The Brewers are 16-29, the worst record in the National League. The Athletics are 16-30, as I just mentioned, the worst record in the American League. 16-30 is worse than 16-29. The Athletics are the worst, are officially legitimately the worst record in the majors. And if the Tigers blow that series away, we're going to go hysteria crazy as we speak.
I mean, I'll be honest. I would not be too surprised if they drop 3 out of 4 against Oakland. I mean, the pattern is there for us. As you can see.
Wait.
A team
wait a second. They're 4 games. Wait. Well, I apologize for this. They have a 4-game series in Los Angeles. Their series with Oakland is 3 games, not 4.
Okay. Well, 2 out of 3 then. Right?
Yep.
So, my point. And it's perfectly right, because if a team like the Milwaukee Brewers come into Comerica and almost sweep the Tigers, I wouldn't be quite surprised to see Oakland try to do the same thing, at least take 2 out of 3. Because I think, I saw some highlights earlier of Sonny Gray's outing against who are they facing? I believe it was Tampa. Yes, it was Tampa, the Tampa Bay Rays. And granted, the record is not a good indicator, but I have to think that they have at least better consistency with some of their starting rotation as compared to Detroit's majority of the starting rotation. Now, granted, I could be because I have not followed Oakland at all. So I could be making an incorrect statement. If I do, I apologize. But
that's fine.
I don't know. The thing, the Tigers and these West Coast trips, the Tigers and these West Coast trips, it always concerns me because whether it be late at night or just in the West Coast in general, they always seem to either lose the majority of it or find a way to have a good chance to win a game, then they blow it. So I'm not feeling quite too confident about this upcoming West Coast trip, especially since they're playing the Angels.
One correction I need to make: their game tomorrow is at 4:05, not 3:35. Let me make a correction on the description of this episode. There we go. Ta-da! So it's 4:05, not 3:05. It's 4:05. Tigers live pregame at 3:05 on Fox Sports Detroit. I will mention them and Fox 2 teaming up to broadcast Lions preseason games in a matter of minutes. 646-478-4837 is the number to call on line 1. On line 2, we have 231-429-3668. Anybody else wants to call in and discuss the Tigers? Just jump aboard. What did you think of? I saw Matthew Mowry's tout video of Brad Ausmus's post-game press conference, and Ausmus was asked a question about leaving Sanchez in the game to face Preston Tucker, who took him deep for that game-time 3-run home run, and Ausmus defended that like he always does, and because Ausmus thought that Sanchez is actually good against lefties. He said that twice, and that was all he said. Oh my God! Not only is he dumb, he's arrogant. Just like Dombrowski when he said.
Well, his arrogance, right, his stupidity is right. Should not be surprised at this point. But now he's really letting the arrogance shine through with his adamant defense of leaving Sanchez in the way he did. God, I hope for the sake of the fans, the Tigers win a World Series. If not this year, then very soon. Because with this guy running the team, being the skipper, it's gonna be a freaking nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And if it doesn't result in a World Series, they will be calling for his head. I hope they were calling for his head, but then again, they didn't call for Lehman's head when he had a couple of bad second half collapses. So who knows? Maybe they won't do the same for Ausmus, but I would hope so.
Right, Brad Ausmus has defended every bad move that he made from the beginning of last year to today. He's about as arrogant now as Dombrowski was when he mentioned that he told the media at the after postseason press conference that he doesn't regret the Fister trade. I'll bet Dombrowski still doesn't.
You bet you needed Doug Fister this year, didn't you, Double D?
Yep. We got about 5.5 minutes left. Griffins also lose to the Utica Comets in Game 1 of the 2015 AHL Calder Cup Playoffs Western Conference Finals, 2-1. Mark Zingerle put the Griffins on the board on the power play, but the Utica Comets would jump on the board first with goals from Nicholas Jensen from a sharp angle and Brandon DeFazio, both of them on even strength. Utica takes a 1-0 series lead. Let me check the schedule here. Game calendar. It's loading. Game 2 is Monday at 7 o'clock on Wood Radio, on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM, on iHeartRadio, You can listen to them on 1300 AM in Grand Rapids and 106.9 FM in Muskegon. Games 3 and 4 are at home Thursday and Friday, both at 7 o'clock. Game 5 is at Van Andel Arena Sunday at 5. Game 6 and 7 to be, if necessary, on June 2nd and 3rd. That's on a Tuesday and Wednesday at 7. Quick question, Ed. What do you think of Fox? What do you think of Fox 2 and Fox Sports Detroit teaming up to broadcast Lions preseason games? I think it's getting a little bit bigger. I know it's the preseason, but now the cable satellite channel department has picked up on it now.
Well, I would say from one aspect it kind of makes sense, because not only I kind of figured I would relate to that once Dan Miller had made the teasing tweet about a few days ago, the day before. But it makes sense from the fact that the majority of Lions games air on Fox 2. Dan Miller is the radio voice of the Lions on the radio broadcast. Mm-hmm. And Miller is also the sports program director on Fox 2.
Yep.
So, add 2 and 2 together, and to me it makes perfect sense why Fox 2 would want to have preseason coverage of Lions games by that factor alone. Now the fact that they want to add in Fox Sports Detroit as well, yeah, it's a good case of establishing and broadening their scope in terms of delivering more Lions content, I guess, to local viewers. Granted, it is only preseason. It's not like we're seeing Lions live post-game shows on FSD like you do Tigers live. Even though sometimes they do have showcase Lions post-game shows on Fox 2, but maybe it could lead to something like that where we would see more extensive Lions post-game shows on Fox Sports Detroit. If that's the case, good for them, and as you can tell by some of my voice, I really don't care particularly that much about it, but I think it's a good business move in terms of the certain parallel, not parallel, but what's the word I'm looking for? I'm just stalling for time here. The of certain factors that play into this, the obviousness. So I would say that.
30.3 seconds left in overtime in Game 3 in Cleveland. Cavs lead 112-111 over the Hawks. Lightning shut out the Rangers 2-0 in Game 5 in New York at Madison Square Garden. They take a 3-0. They take a 3-2 series lead heading back to St. Petersburg. I would think it would be I would think for the preseason games to be televised on cable and satellite would be an awesome idea. Although it's not that big, it's still fun for Lions fans everywhere to watch, regardless.
Yeah, it gives that option. Even if you don't feel like watching, you still look it up the next day on NFL On Demand or NFL.com, whatever the case may be. But I understand for those that conveniently may not have that internet service and have TV coverage instead, it'll make sense from that standpoint.
All right, about 40 seconds left. We're going to wrap this up. Ed, once again, welcome back. Happy belated 50th birthday, and thanks for talking with me.
My pleasure, old man. Take care.
Thanks. And you can follow Ed Smith and I on Twitter at EdSmith313 and at DT2Phillips. I'm Taylor Phillips saying TTFN, ta-ta for now.